Brush 2, 3, 4. Put 'em up. 2, 3, 4. Do it. Do it now. We're gonna learn how to paint.
Welcome Reaper Many fans! Today we have a very exciting episode. Today we're making the Runehorn hut and we're making it into an Orc Village. Now these huts are made with mammoth teeth, or tusks, sorry, and they are fantastic, and I think they will look perfect as an Orc or Goblin encampment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find some MDF scattered terrain. I'm going to get my air hardening clay out and we're going to come back and start making some fantastic little huts and scatter terrain for your tabletop games. Okay, so I've got my MDF boards. These are little 2mm boards, 2mm thick, which I got off eBay, very cheap. And you get little packs of 10 or 20 and they're great for scatter terrain and making little sceneries for your games. So what I've done, I've stuck these on with PVA glue. What I'll do now is I will stick on all the gravel on each base and come back once we are ready to paint. There, all my gravel has been added to the bases. Absolutely fantastic. It's all dried now, so what I'll be doing is I shall be adding a primer coat. I will be going for browns, and once that's on I'll come back and then we can go straight in and get these painted. So my primer coats are all done. What I've got now is I've got some Dragon Red by MSP, Saddle Brown, Turf Green and Desert Sand, all by MSP. And what I'm going to do is quickly go over all the areas that I want with these different colours. So what I'm going to do is start with the red, and I'm just going over the skin of the fur. I'm going to add some brown into that one. Mix it in on my little tissue there. And we're just going over that area. And now we are going into the desert sand. I'm adding some of the red, mixing that in, and that'll be a quick highlight onto the top of the fur. This will bring out the highlights once I add an ink wash later on. There we are, perfect. Okay, back into the red, going down onto the next parts of the skin, add some brown. There we go. The tusks will be painted later. Once you get all the dry brushing done, you can paint in the tusks and then go over them with an ink wash. Again, going back into that desert sand, mixing it in on the tissue, just to highlight the bottom of these pieces of fur. There we are. Now I'm going to work on the base. And the base I am going into the desert sand once more. Just going to go lightly over the base. This will pick out all the stones on the base. Add in some of this turf green now. We'll be adding flocking later. The turf green is just to help with the colours on the base when you've finished. With the green, I want to mix that in a little bit with the desert sand and go a tiny bit up the sides of the hut. I want the hut to look aged. I'll be adding some grass tufts to the top of the hut as well. all we need to do for now. Once this is dried and I've painted the other ones, I will then add that ink wash all over this the hut, and then we'll come back and I will show you the next stage. All the colours have been added now. As you can see, I've added the ivory. MSP from Reaper Miniatures do a fantastic tusk ivory. So what I've done is a couple of coats onto the huts. And now what I'm going to do is go over all the miniature with some brown ink wash. And once that's all on, I'll come back and show it when it's all dried. Well, we're nearly at the last stages of the miniature. All I need to do now is add some flocking and pick out some of the fine details. I've gone back over the tusk ivory with the same colour that I used before from the MSP, and just highlighted the tips of the tusks, and that's worked out very well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the rest of the flocking, just finish off some of the highlights, and I'll come back and show you the finished miniatures. So here is my finished Orc Village. This could be also used for goblins. I think it looks awesome. The miniatures in the picture are all from Reaper Miniatures. They're from the Legends and Warlord range. These are all metal orcs. The huts, as you can see, I've added flocking to the roofs and to the bases. I've painted in all the food using some inks, and I think it came out lovely. These would look beautiful on any tabletop. So there we are. This is the Runehorn hut by Reaper Miniatures. If you enjoy what I'm doing, then please subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the channel, then please become my patron. All patrons are added to the end credits of all my videos. So, until next time.
Goodbye, my fellow ones. Sleep well. Dream of evil paintbrushes.